Welcome to a presentation by Ewing Enterprise. My name is David, and today, May 1st, we're going to be talking about search engine optimization. So let's jump right into it. On today's agenda, we're going to discuss the topics of what is SEO, relevancy, keywords, search engines, basically how content is obtained, site and domain factors, individual page factors, links, and a couple other optimization ideas to get your business started. Now, a subset of search engine optimization or marketing. A lot of questions surround the topic of basically what is search engine optimization, and it focuses on the natural organic relevancy of content in search results. Some practices extend into search engine marketing, obtaining links, but search engine optimization is basically the practice of getting individual web pages. A lot of people. I'd like to be clear on the distinction between a website and a web page. When someone says that my website is ranked, what they really mean is that an individual web page is ranked. A website is basically a group of pages, and each one of those pages gets crawled, indexed, and ranked on its own account. And we're going to discuss some of the factors that go into that ranking. Now, so what is search engine marketing? Now, optimization versus marketing. Optimization is the steps that go into making the site rank. Marketing is how you promote that content. It's also the overall activity around using search engines to market a site or online entity. And it can include optimization, which is primarily on onpage and some of the other factors that go into it. Paid inclusion, so directories, or if you buy at a conference, or a number of other offline activities. And pay-per-click. Some of you might be more familiar with Google AdWords as a advertising model. So SEO versus SEM and pay-per-click. Now, if you'll look at the screen right now, the top right and top right side are a lighter shade of green, and those are sponsored listings. That makes up 20% of the total clicks that an individual search query might get. The regular search and results pages, which is highlighted in blue, accounts for 80% of the total clicks for a search query. So in this example, we're using Alaska Cruises, and you'll see alaskacruise.com 75% off, and on the right side you'll see the first advertisement is a 2008 Alaska from $5.99. And there's two advantages from pay-per-click, which is the search engine marketing model, and the people that click those particular spots, because they're aware that they're advertisements, they actually have a higher they have a higher conversion rate, because people they're aware that they're an ad, and they're looking for that particular subject, product, service, whatever it may be, and so they're more likely to convert because they're aware that they're ads. Now, some of the pros and cons of SEO versus pay-per-click and search engine marketing. Well, search engine optimization, if you're knowledgeable and you follow Ewing Enterprises guides, it's free. You can make these changes yourself depending on your level of coding. And let's see, searchers click on organic search results more often than paid pay-per-click. 80% click more on organic versus the paid. And some of the pros of search engine marketing pay-per-click: it's excellent at creating awareness. Campaigns can be budgeted to fit pretty much any business's needs. Some of the cons for SEO: it is fairly time-consuming, and it takes longer to see results. And this is especially true in higher and more competitive markets. If you're in, say, a doctor or selling jewelry, or it becomes a lot more difficult to rank, because you're competing against giants like Zales and huge companies that have enormous ad spend budgets, and so it is a little bit more time-consuming. Now, if you're doing pay-per-click, some of the cons is it can be pricey. Again, you're going up against these huge companies with giant budgets. $25 to $100,000 a month is a pretty consistent budget. It must be managed constantly, and the return on investment can be difficult to manage. There's also a lot of click fraud. A lot of times competitors will just go in and click on the ads, driving up your particular ad cost, and that's not very beneficial. So, some SEO ethics. Depending on how familiar you are with search engine optimization, you might have heard or come across white hat versus black hat techniques, and then of course there's the middle ground, which is a gray hat area. And basically, white hat means that they follow search engine guidelines. And primarily we focus on Google, since Google owns and has 70% of market share. That search engine is where we put the majority of our energy. Yahoo and Bing, since Bing operates, Yahoo's using Bing's search model algorithm to show those results. So it's really they're combined, and YouTube is the second largest search model. So it strives for best possible search engine ranking. And black hat techniques knowingly breaks many of the search engine guidelines. It misrepresents content. An example of this is a technique called cloaking, where you show one page to the search engines where it's just stuffed with keywords. All the alt text it's specifically targeted to a specific phrase. And for the users, you show an entirely different page. And that's an example of cloaking. So, and basically, that's misrepresenting the content. And there are tons of techniques and tricks that we can teach you, but it's not a good long-term strategy. And a lot of these companies promise #1 ranking. So next, we're going to discuss relevancy. The overall goal for search engines is to deliver the most relevant search results possible in the fastest amount of time. For searchers, for you, me, people using sites like Google to find information, it's to find the most relevant search result. And for site owners, their goal is to optimize their site so that the content, the services, the products that they're showing get searched for accurately. And true relevancy has become a hip. It's not a fad. Now, so if we could just cover a little bit of SEO workflow. Arguably, keyword research is the most important phase of any project. And the reason for that is because it sets the groundwork, the foundation of what your product, what you're selling, without it you're not able to show and streamline what your goals for a particular campaign is. So after keyword research and analysis comes analyzing your site for specific on-page crawl performance issues, making sure that the URL is semantically clear, making sure that you have page titles that include your keyword but are also attractive enough for users. Because if you have a page title that says something like Capel Smiles, and that may be a keyword phrase that you're targeting, to the user, it's not very interesting. They're going to go click on another page that's a lot more enticing. Something like get your general dentistry free. That sounds a lot more interesting than just a generic two-word keyword phrase. The next step is implementing optimizations, and we're going to cover the individual techniques and strategies for that. But in short, that's basically just making the changes to your site so that they follow these specific guidelines. And monitoring results. Now, this is another phase, and there are a lot of programs. Google Analytics, Webmaster Tools are excellent for tracking, monitoring, segmenting the short-term and long-term goals that your site or business might have, and repeating these steps as needed, analyzing what's doing better, what's not doing so good, where your pages have a higher bounce rate, A lot of people might be coming to your site for a term that you weren't even trying to rank for, and it's analyzing that and figuring out how you can use that best for your business. Okay, so keywords. Keywords are the core of search engine optimization. Keywords are the terms used by searchers to find information. And the goal is to leverage and implement the same keywords throughout your content in a natural manner so that you as the site owner rank for the terms and services, products that you're trying to get people to rank for. And for the end user, it helps the audience who's searching for that information to find it. And even more important, they're attracted to your pages via the description, in the search and results. And as I stated earlier, the discovery and analysis is never ending. It starts with keyword research and it continues throughout, because you're constantly, as new trends come up, it's important to stay abreast of these emerging changes. So how do we discover these keywords? And known keywords, a basic strategy, and with our clients we like to start off with some of their sales staff, people that are familiar with the users, with the clients, the customers. Ask the business owners, ask the customers, check the current server logs or analytics tools if you have these in place. Check site search logs. What are people looking for? What words are they typing into Google and finding your site from? Another cool way is to analyze competitors' keywords. Look in the words in the title tag or the browser bar. You can view the source to view their meta keywords, and a lot of companies don't have the budget in place for an in-house SEO staff, and so a lot of people aren't aware that a few years ago Google, the meta keywords tag no longer has a weight. So a lot of companies and sites still stuff the words that they're targeting into that keywords tag. For our clients, we don't recommend that they use the meta keywords tag, because just how we're reverse engineering our competitors to find out what the keywords they're targeting, they could do the same to us, and we don't want that for our clients. So use these tools to harvest the keywords or phrases of prominent sites, the sites that are ranking #1, your competitors' sites. What words are they trying to go after? And that's typically a good place to start. So again, with the keyword discovery and analysis phase, always include variations of keywords, plurals. So widgets, hammers, synonyms. So for example, for boating or taking a cruise, sailing, journey, tour, different stems. Fishing, fished would be an example. And international spelling if your business is sells or promotes internationally. See harbor versus harbor, spelled with the O-U-R. And some of the online tools, they're created for pay-per-click, but you can use these for your keyword research. Tools like a Google AdWords tool, it's free, and it's fantastic. We found that it's fairly accurate compared to some of the other analytics tools. Trillion, there's a free trial. Word Tracker, an excellent tool. They have a paid service, but you can get 30 days. And so that this gives you kind of a good starting point. SEO Book, they have an SEO tool that has a suggestion tool. It kind of aggregates some of the other tools out there. And use multiple tools to cross-check and validate. Make sure that these findings go across fairly consistently across these other tool sets. If you find that a certain keyword on one is just killing it, getting 900,000 searches a month, and on another, say a word tracker, it's only showing that it's getting 100. Now it could be the type of phrase match, maybe it's exact, maybe they're using a broad match. And the difference between that, exact phrase means that the person types in that exact word. So, say for example, diamond ring. An exact phrase would be a diamond ring. A broad match would be any combination including those words. So, diamond ring for Valentine's Day, for example. And a phrase match would include those words, but also some other variations. So here's a look at Google AdWords keyword tool. And this phrase, Europe cruise, we were talking earlier, this is in Google AdWords, you have the option to use their old interface, which is the example we're showing, and they have a new interface, and we'll be including that in future presentations. But I like this one just because it's a little bit more clear, and the bars are a little bit more spread out. So Europe cruises, the very first word. The advertiser competition, as you can see, the green bar is completely filled, so that's 10 out of 10, extremely competitive. Many sites bidding for that. And if you'll notice the search volume in March, not too rich in searches, and the average search volume is about the same. And if you'll look to the far right, you'll see that the match type is broad. So it's including some of these other phrases as well. And underneath it, Google includes synonyms of word phrases that they think are relevant to them. And so that's a fantastic way to get ideas on words that that you might not have ever thought of. So Caribbean cruise boat, Caribbean cruise package. Now these phrases, Caribbean cruises. Another cool thing about this is, a few months ago, Google, there's something called latent semantic indexing, LSI, and it's a factor that Google takes into to find out how relevant a page is for a certain word. And what it uses is surrounding text, and basically it tells Google that if you say that your page is about boats, then some of the words that should be in there are boats, boating, ships, water, lakes, fish, just stuff words that would relate to that subject. And so this is a great way to find some of those ideas that you might not have been able to just think off the top of your head. And here's an example of trillion keyword search. Like I said earlier, they have a free model for 30 days, a free trial. And while they don't give you an exact number of searches, it's more of a comparison. So as you can see, the first search on the left, the estimated results are 129. And for the search term Alaska Inside Passage, you'll see that the first word comes up with 176 searches. And if we type that same phrase into Google, they give a little bit more accurate. We found through our own local testing that their search volume is a little bit more accurate, and this is just more of so that you can get a general sense of how many searches. So there's obviously a lot more than 176 searches per month for Alaska Inside Passage, but compared to Alaska Inside Passage Cruise, you can obviously see that between 176 and 79, that the three-term phrase Alaska Inside Passage gets the bulk of the searches. And so if you're deciding between those two words for your pay-per-click or to target, you would want to choose Alaska Inside Passage if you could only choose the two. So this is just another place to kind of, and they show different phrases, so it's a good place to get additional ideas from where to get some more keyword search queries. Word Tracker. Word Tracker also has a free version for 30 days, and then same type. Now, their volume of searches is a little bit more accurate than Trillions, but same kind of basic model. It analyzes the competition, but instead of the bar, they give you a 1 to 10, the number of competing sites, the total count, and there's also, they have the KEI analysis, which is Keyword Efficiency Index. It's their own analysis. Basically, they tell you, they take into account and divide the total count versus competition, and it comes up with a number of how difficult it would be to rank for a certain term. So, which keywords do you use? Well, it depends on the context and the theme of your site, who your audience you're targeting, researchers, buyers, companies. If you're selling to another company, if you sell, let's say, fax machines that are only for businesses, say that the price point is $5,000 per tiny fax. And I don't know why I came up with fax machine, since In my opinion, the fax machines are going out in the way of the phone, the home phone. Much like the cell phone has replaced the hard line. I think eventually we'll be asking, what's a fax? But anyway, so it's important to know who your target demographic is, and there are fantastic tools. Quantcast, Compete will give you information on you can type in input the site or a search term, and they'll tell you whether it's male or female. 60% of say for example we're working with a dentist client, and 60% of searches for dentist-related terms are searched for by females, which I personally was just shocked by. I was this entire data set we were just floored by what we discovered. But women do the majority of scheduling dentist appointments, doctor's appointments, and so when you're marketing, it's important to structure your advertisements, your pages, knowing who you're targeting. And so for our client that we're doing now, they are a local dentist firm in the Dallas Metroplex, and had we not known, we would have maybe just split tested and found just as many male and started our ads with guys. Hey guys, check out, get your teeth cleaned, and it would completely miss our target demographic. So, and it's important to use keywords that are being searched on. Now, you might think that certain words are searched for because you're familiar with your products, but that might not be what people are looking for to find your product. You need to find that they have medium to low competition. It's easier to start off with less competition, and as your site grows, your domain authority increases, improves, and then to go after those higher competitive terms. And to build quality content that site visitors will appreciate, that will answer their questions, and using keywords that help the search engine understand your content and help the users and persuade them to take action on whatever it is that your subject is about. Now, possible direction of search engines to determine relevancy. It's important to organize site content into themes. It's important to site folder structure, content text, and link text. So, how search engines obtain content? Now, search engines send bots, which is just a computer program, an algorithm that spiders the web, and it crawls via hyperlinks. So, the example right here, you have just a standard HTML code for what a hyperlink looks like. And that's what it looks like to the search engines, and they would go from that site to the next link to the next link, and that's basically how search engines crawl the web, just from link to link. And so it's important to have your navigation set up in a structure so that your content is no more than 2 clicks away, because if it's buried too far, then the search engines won't be able to find it. And if your URLs have a bunch of question marks and parameters in it, then the bots will get hung up and they won't go any farther than that page. And basically that means your content won't get crawled. So here's the Pac-Man, one of my old favorite games. And as you can see, Pac-Man missing his eye, but what he's gobbling up is content, the theme, links, and metadata. And while individual metadata has historically had more weight, now it's more important for the users. Meta description is used to basically entice the user to clicking that particular link. Content, whatever your subject is about, and that has overlap with a theme and links. And we'll go into to links in a little bit farther into this presentation. So, a search engine bot. So what happens when a search engine bot, spider, visits your site? Well, first, it checks for the robots.txt file for any instructions. And these instructions could be not to go to this page. You don't want it to visit, say that you're an e-commerce site. Well, you don't want them crawling your credit card information and putting that all over the web. So you would include that in your robots.txt file not to crawl that particular page. Second, it begins to crawl following links in your site from the current page. It also pays attention to any page-level robot instructions, so no index, no follow. And basically, no index and no follow tells the search engines not to pass any link equity to that link. It grabs the content, metadata, the title description, link labels, alt text, attributes, and it adds it to its index. And that's a very simplified version, but we'll go into a little bit more depth in future presentations. Now the robots.txt file, it gives you site-wide control. It's followed by most of the search engine bots, and you can control access to areas of your website that you don't want them crawling. You can limit controls to all or selected bots. You can tell Googlebot, don't visit this page, but another bot that you might have or want, you can allow it, and this comes into play in a variety of different areas. So controlling robots, robots meta tag. As you can see on the right in this little gray box, we have the index follow, no index no follow, no index follow, and index no follow. So this is page level control for the individual pages that make up an entire website. So placed as a meta tag in the head portion of your pages, it controls who the search bot crawls through the page. Now, some of the search engine crawling issues might happen when there's conflicts between the robots.txt and the meta robots. One set of instructions in the robot.txt might be different instructions in a meta robot. So another issue is server performance. If a server is not available when the search bots visit, it'll revisit, but learns and decreases the frequency of visits. If a server is slow, a bot will crawl it when it can, then move on, and it's called an incomplete crawl. And you want as many bots coming to your site, so it's important to have fresh content, to be updating your pages, to giving these Google and reasons to continue crawling your page. So it's important to stay on top of your website site architecture, making sure that you don't have any 404 issues, that there's no down pages. It's also important to have a reliable hosting service, because I've seen it, and it's come up many times, that a Googlebot will crawl a page when the server's down, and it'll return those results and index what it found, and so it'll be a broken page. And so when somebody searches for your business, what shows up is 404 not found, and to a user, they're not going to click on that. They're not going to say, "Hey, let me invest in this company," because no, they're going to say, "Let me go to a site that's working." So another crawling issue is in JavaScript. Robots.txt and meta robots, they can't follow hyperlinks embedded or generated by JavaScript. So pop-ups, DHTML pull-down menus. Well, these are efficient for structuring your information. They're not very compatible with search engines. So, some of the other crawling issues, I was talking about parameters, and here's a perfect example, the first one. You'll see that there's a lot of, after mydomain.com/product/item.asp, you'll see a question mark, and then ID, and then you'll see a session ID with a huge string of numbers, and the robots can't read that. They'll get hung up on the question mark, keep trying, stop, and then not index the problem. So these session IDs cause problems. They also cause duplicate content issues. The solution is fairly simple, depending on how large your site is, and it's just a matter of making the URL shorter. Preferably 1,000 characters are way too long. So up to 2 parameters are okay, but it's still a risk. I try to eliminate parameters as much as possible, if it's possible. This is kind of difficult when you're tracking, say, an affiliate program, and you want to know where certain searches are coming from. So you just have to be kind of careful which pages you use that those tools on. If multiple parameters and session IDs are a must, use your URL rewrite, preferably in Apache model. So before, here's the example, Amazon.com, don't make me think, usability, and that after, as you can see, Amazon.com/common approach usability, rich keywords that people are likely to be searching for to find that particular book. And at the end, then it has the session ID number, and that's a lot clearer. Very likely that Google's going to be able to take that information and crawl it, index it. Your site's going to be able to be found, and it's good for the customers. They're likely to say, hey, I'm looking for a common approach. That's exactly what I typed in. That's exactly what's there. Seems like a good match. I'm going to click on it. So some additional crawling issues are cookies. They're required to navigate your site. If you require cookies to navigate your site, this poses some crawling issues because it just makes it a little bit more difficult. Form-based navigation. Search bots don't do forms, so eliminate forms. Menu-based navigation is the standard, and it's a lot more clear for users and for the search engines themselves. Redirects. Search engines view meta and JavaScript redirects as only user server side. So instead of 302 redirects, which is just a temporary redirect, it tells the search engine that this is temporary, not to pass link juice. A 301 redirect is what you want to do. It tells Google that this page is permanently redirected to this page, and this means this. So a search bot will learn and update its information based on that redirect. So again, if I could, as far as crawling issues, if you take anything away from this presentation, make sure that you're 301 redirecting and not 302 redirecting, or I'm going to come and get you, because that's very, very important. Okay, so Flash. Now, during the mid-late 90s, Flash sites were huge. These big, elaborate presentations, and it was more of a competition with graphic designers. Hey, look how gorgeous this site was. But basically, to a search engine, it's basically a movie. Search engines can't tell what that subject is about, so they're only able to index the domain itself, and whatever text may be on the page. So use Flash as an embellishment to your site and not as the content source itself. Methods available to improve Flash are, there's a WordPress comment by a Flash developer. It's pretty good, but again, we recommend not using Flash. Search engines have come a long way with being able to read some of the text that's inside of Flash, but they're still a long way from being able to, and it's just basically not worth it. There are a lot of other options for having a catchy design. And frames. Avoid frames at all costs. Use CSS techniques. They provide similar capabilities. So, content-to-content ratio. Code used to display page versus content that is displayed. In browser view source to view code. Let's see. So, search engine indexing. How to. Obtaining links to your site from authoritative sources that'll get crawled and indexed organically. Submit your site to search engines Google, Yahoo. We have MSN, but Bing. Ask still has between 3 and 5% market share, so they're still a viable source, but not near as large as Google. And monitor your pages that are indexed, the pages that are in Google themselves. So here's a search relationship. You'll see that Google's in the center. You'll do a search, and if it's a question, it might display some of the search engine results pages from Ask or Live Search, AOL, a lot of question-based services. And here's a screenshot of Google Webmaster Central. And it's important after you set up your site to get your site in the Webmaster Tools, so that way you can monitor. It has a fantastic user interface. It's very intuitive, very easy to use. The setup is pretty straightforward, easy, and best of all, it's free. So I don't know why. There's absolutely no reason not to use Google Webmaster Central. They give you tips on improving your site with their tools. They have a fantastic blog. You can get answers to different questions. And just a great all-around resource for your site. Here's another screenshot of the overview. So this is Sun Tours. It shows the pages. Right now that we're on the overview section, and it shows pages that are indexed. The last time that Googlebot visited the page. Here's some web crawl errors. This site's doing fantastic, as you'll see. No errors. No HTTP errors. There's 17 pages not found, which is probably an issue. URLs that timed out, which means that there are parameters, little question marks that we were talking about earlier. Those are not an issue. So overall, pretty good. You need a trusted feed to push your content into Google. Generate sitemaps online. There's a fantastic, easy, free resource at xmlsitemaps.com, and it can be used for both Google and Microsoft, or Bing, depending on how you do it. So how do we implement this How do we implement these strategies? David, I want to know. Well, hold on, I'm about to tell you. Okay, so domain, site, page elements, and links. Those are 3 topics we're going to cover, and I want you to buckle in, because it's about to get nasty in here. So the domain/site optimization. Age of site. This builds prominence and credentials. Depending on how old a site is, if a site's 10 years old, that shows that, hey, this has been around a while. And if there haven't been any problems, if it hasn't been spam reported, most likely this is a good quality resource that's earned link juice that people are visiting. It's a lot more trustworthy than, say, a site that just came out a day ago. Between the two, Google's going to pick the one that has a little bit more domain age, because it tends to kind of stand the test of time, if you will. Now, inbound link popularity into a site, which is how many links are linking to a particular site. What this means is basically a simplified version of links is it's basically a vote. It's one web page. It's kind of a democratic system. Links are, if they were people, it would be like, hey, I vouch for this guy, and I'm linking to him. I'm raising my hand. I'm saying, yeah, him. And even more important is when a site not only links to another site, but uses keyword-rich anchor text. And so they're saying, hey, I vote for this site, and it's about diamond rings. That to Google would say, hey, this site, it's getting a ton of votes. It's getting a lot of people are saying, hey, I like this site, and this site is about diamond rings. So they're more likely to rank that site for the term diamond rings. If you're a jewelry store, or if that's what you're targeting, selling, giving information about. Topical inbound link relevancy to your site. So if you have a ton of links, for example, from Viagra to your site, and you're selling diamond rings, well, that's not very relevant, and it raises a red flag that you might be doing some black hat spamming techniques to get these link acquisition, and it's not a very strong long-term strategy. Link content is the theme topical. So if you're selling diamond rings, and we'll just stay on this example because it's pretty straightforward, then some of the topical themes that might be around it would be, say, engagement, weddings, gifts, Valentine's gifts, Christmas gifts. Those would all be different themes that would match diamond rings. So that would be an example of content that's related to that particular product. Now, if you're getting links from car insurance and your website is about diamond rings, then again, raises a red flag. How often, or the frequency of new inbound links. So if you have a few links from 10 years ago and you don't have any links in the last 5, then to Google that means, hey, this site isn't as up to date, isn't as current, and we shouldn't give it as high of a rating for a particular query. And another factor is the number of searches over time where the site appears in results. Keywords and domain. So if you're selling diamond rings and your domain is diamondrings.com and you have that in the folder structure, which is, if you're looking at a URL, it would be diamondrings.com/diamondrings. That would be an example of the folder structure. And that is a strong case for that site, and that page is most likely about diamond rings. And if it has a ton of links pointing to it, with the anchor text saying diamond rings, a ton of people voting and saying, hey, this site is about diamond rings, and the site says it's about diamond rings, then that seems like a fairly strong match for that phrase, and it's likely to get a respective high ranking for that phrase. So on-page optimization. How old is the document, the page itself? Freshness of the document, or query deserves freshness, is what Google calls it, QDF algorithm. And basically, the short version is just that, how recent is it? If a topic just came out about diamond rings, then it'd say there's no more diamond rings. If you have a page that just came out yesterday and there's all this information in the news about diamond rings, and you have a page that came out yesterday and you've been ranking #1 for the phrase diamond rings, then you make a strong argument that, hey, we need to show this because it's relevant to what all these searches that are going around for diamond rings. So page file name, you want to use keywords, hyphens as separators, and we'll go down into a little bit more detail in some future slides. The number, quality, and relevance of links that are pointing to your site. As far as the theme of your page, it needs to be focused on a single topic. And leverage some of the CSS layouts with external style sheets as opposed to external JavaScript to create a content to code ratio. One of the most important things you can do fast is page titles. And these need to be unique for every page on your site. They should contain 1 or 2 keywords specific to the content of that page, and its most important keyword phrase at the beginning of the title. You want to repeat the keyword phrase up to 2 times and limit it to approximately 65 characters. It'll appear in the browser window title, and if you're looking at a page, it's usually the very top left-hand corner of the page, depending on what browser you're using. If it's, say, you search for diamond rings and you went to the site, at the very top left corner, you'll see if the page is optimized for it, it'll say diamond rings, diamond ring sales in Dallas. And that would be an excellent example of the keyword being in the very front, but still being attractive enough and interesting enough that a user wants to click on it. And it needs to be persuasive for humans. So here's a code example for what page title. We have our example, rubber widgets, and the title is largest selection of rubber widgets. There's the keyword phrase twice in the page title, and it's still pretty clear to the user and to Google that this page is about rubber widgets. Page title. So what about dynamic pages? Pages that are created automatically. And this comes up a lot with e-commerce sites. So you want to use variables in the title to interject keywords for the content of that page. And here's an example. The product name, best selection of product name title. And that closes the tag with. So the meta tags placed in the head portion of a page. Example, here's some of the syntax. Description, as you see, this is just what it would look like if you were using Dreamweaver. The descriptions, it's not used by search engines for relevancy, but it's displayed as the snippet. When you search for something in Google, the 10 sites that show up, usually there's a title and a little description underneath it, and your meta description is usually what is displayed there. You want to limit it to between 100 and 200 characters, and the keyword tag, like we said earlier, was banished a long time ago because people were just spamming it. They were just stuffing every keyword in there imaginable that would get a ton of searches that had nothing to do with their page, and so that no longer has any weight in or value. And a lot of site owners aren't aware of that, and so that's why it's really easy to reverse engineer what they're trying to go after. And that's why I said earlier about how we tell our clients not to put the terms that they're trying to target in their keywords tag. Okay, so here's an example. We have our page title: Glacier Bay Highlights, Alaskan Bay Cruises. The description: save up to $300 per cabin, ends 3/31, and a little example. Experience the true meaning, wonder-soaring sanctuary of a Glacier Bay National Park. Excellent way to incorporate to the terms that they're going after for the user, and it doesn't come off as a spammy way. If somebody types in the phrase Glacier Bay, and they see that snippet and that page title and results, and they look at the URL, suntours.com/Alaska/Glacier Bay Highlights.asp. Hey, that looks like what I am searching for. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to click on it, and they're going to provide me some great information, and it's most likely going to be what I'm looking for, the information. So Google's going to reward that site by ranking them higher in the search engine results. Everything needs to be visible in a web browser. Keywords implemented should support the overall theme of the page. Factors: keyword prominence, where on the page it appears. Keywords that are higher in or above the fold are more relevant, play more weight than if you were to put the keyword that you're targeting at the very end of the entire article or whatever it is you're talking about. Now, I want to be kind of clear on keyword density. You'll hear a lot of shady SEO saying, hey, we got to get that density 5 to 7%, 2%. And Matt Cutts has been very clear that not to worry about keyword density, to write your content for users, and not trying to stuff your keyword in there. So you want to include your keyword. I'd recommend between 2 and 4 times. That would occur naturally in a conversation. You don't want to say, if somebody was just like, hey, diamond ring, and then we're going to go to the store, it has great deals, diamond ring, and save today, diamond ring, you'd probably throw your drink on someone that was talking like that and leave. But if someone says, hey, I have a great deal on some diamond rings, and today only we're doing a 30% sale, and if you buy a diamond ring from us, we'll also throw in a warranty free of charge. Check us out. That seems like a real natural conversation. Somebody's not going to think that's spammy. It's useful. It just works for both the user and the search engine. So search engines also look at the content or the words that are around the keywords to check them for relevancy. So if your theme is diamond rings, then you probably have maybe engagement rings, loose diamonds, tennis bracelets, weddings, different phrases that would be around diamond rings. Most likely you wouldn't have keywords that are diamond rings and with the terms like Viagra and car insurance and gambling right next to it. That it just isn't a likely natural thing that would happen. So including primary or supporting keywords in your highest heading tag, your H1 tag. So your heading tags, H1 through H6, are a great way to tell a search engine that this phrase, this word, this is more important than the tag that's in the H6 tag. But you're still telling, hey, Google, this is important, this is important, this is important, but this one's just a little bit more important than H6. And so make sure it makes sense to humans. There's also something called font decorations, and basically it's bolding, italicizing, underlining. That's a great way to highlight, to bring focus onto your keywords, and to tell Google, hey, this word is what you're targeting, and you're kind of shining the spotlight on it. So if you have diamond rings, you could bold that, and a little bit later, and you have it again, maybe italicize it or underline it, and that's called font decoration. So emphasizing keywords. Look at that! I just got a little ahead of myself. It shows search engines that it's important. You can use the strong for bolding or the EM tag for emphasizing. Don't use the B or I, it's outdated. Only emphasize short segments of words, 1 to 4 words. Any more loses impact and value of emphasis. Everything is emphasized, and it dilutes the keyword meaning. So, SEO Mods did a fantastic correlation, causation analysis, and they found that alt tags have a pretty strong correlation to a high ranking, which I thought was pretty interesting. So, and what that means is the alt tags are basically when if an image is broken and it doesn't show up and you just see like a big square, or for blind users, it tells them what the image is. And so you want to take that opportunity to name your images the keyword that you're targeting. So as you can see, the image that we have is a delicious, one of my most favorite, spam. It's just so tasty. I'm just joking. It's not one of my favorites. But the alt text for that would be spam. And if somebody was looking, saying Google Images, and they typed in spam, and the file name was spam, and the alt text was spam, and that was on a page that was spam, the greatest thing ever, then that's likely to show up. So use the alt attributes to provide information about the images, short description of the image, include keywords where it makes sense, make sure it makes sense to humans, and it helps in usability. Don't use images in place of text. If required, consider image replacement techniques. Links. Links, one of my favorite topics. Depending on who you ask, some people think that links play about 90% of the importance of ranking a keyword, and onpage and all the other factors are 5. And a good example to go with that is a few years ago, there's it's still a viable technique. It's called, well, kind of lost the example, but links within your site to pages within using internal links have some value. So your own pages linking to, the way you use your own pages to link, you can make that advantageous for you. So if you have a 1,000-page site, most people's home pages are the pages that rank the highest because they have the majority of the pages that they have underneath that somehow linked to their home page. So the way you can take advantage of internal linking structure is by linking to your home page from your other pages with rich anchor text. So if your site is about diamond rings and all the other pages, you have a site that's on engagement rings. You have a page that's on engagement rings, loose diamond rings, past, present, and future rings, and all 3 of those pages link to your home page with the text diamond rings, and you're trying to rank for the phrase diamond rings. That's just a great way to take advantage of that internal linking architecture to your own benefit. So inbound links to your site, pages, and content should be from quality, authoritative sources, and external links should be considered unbiased proof that your content is quality. The link's anchor text is very important, and it should contain relevant keywords, and this raises the link value. So, inbound link best practices. I'm getting hungry just looking at that spam. Okay, so obtain links from quality authoritative sources. That can't be overstated. So some top site examples would be like CNN or Wikipedia. Sites that have a great PageRank. And PageRank is just a Google term for the quality of inbound links. If you have Google's toolbar, you'll see a little green bar at the top, and it's on a 0 to 10 scale. And an example of a 10 would be Google. And most sites fall far below, and it's on a logarithmic scale, so 2 to a 3 to a 4 increases exponentially. An example would be, say it takes 20,000 links to have a page rank of 3. To have a page rank of 4, it would take something like 100,000, depending on how the quality of the links. Because obviously, it would ideally, if you had a link from Google, if you had a link from CNN, that you could outrank just about everybody with just a few links from quality sources. And not just linking to your home page, but deep linking. So linking to your sub pages, super important. That not only raises the rank and value of those pages, but in turn it raises the value of that domain. So that's super important. Not getting links from shady sources, link farms, rings, link exchanges from sources that have little or no page rank, and I want to be very clear on not purchasing links from others. It's really easy for Google to figure out if you're engaging in link buying, and I've seen sites going from making $100,000 a month to completely delisted and banned from Google, and the site owner has no way of reviving it or their income or any, so they lose their entire business in no time. And Google is constantly, and the other thing too is all it takes is a user, somebody, a competitor, to spam report your site and have it removed from Google's index. And so it might work in the short term, and a lot of companies gamble that it will, but long term, it's just not a good practice. So here's some link building ideas. Blogs. Creating your own blog that's constantly updated with fresh content. Link to your home site, your money site, and commenting on other subject-related relevant blogs. And a lot of times you can use the name field to either put your company or a keyword. And as long as you're commenting, as long as your comments are relevant to the article and post, then most site owners don't have a problem with using the name field as a way to include your keywords. Some site owners will just take out the link or delete the name, but for the most part, it's a pretty safe practice. RSS feed syndication. Now, syndicate information from your site, blog to be displayed on other sites. The cool thing about this is you can control the anchor text, which is another. We talked about anchor text is a way to tell Google what this site is about. Press releases are a great way. It not only gives information about your products, whatever you're selling, but just a great way to get a link back to your site. Articles. Now you can build yourself within the community by writing articles, how-tos, information, and syndicating that across the web. It links back to your site. Usually for the most part, there are a lot of high-quality article directories and listings, and this can add great value to the users and help your site rank better. So, who's linking to you? How do you find that out? Well, there's Google Webmaster Central. Wink, wink. I don't know if I've stressed the importance of setting your site up, but if you take anything away besides the 301 redirects,
Setting your site up with analytics, absolutely fundamental. It's important to know where your site is right now, because you're going to be running a place if you don't know where you're at, and you'll have no way of knowing where you're going. Yahoo has a tool you can use their search, and the code is just link : and bracket, and where it says URL, you obviously put the URL that you're searching for. And it'll tell you, give you a list of some of the links that are pointing to your site. And here's some other additional optimization ideas. Google Base, or the product search. It's an online database of products. It was originally created for classifieds, but you can upload information about your products. Their product search, used to be Frugal, but it's a shopping search engine providing searchable index of products that you can buy. And what's cool about that is, because it's in Google, people have it just has a little bit more trust, because it's like, oh hey, this is in Google showing me this, so people are more likely to purchase than if they went to a poorly designed site and it looks they have those MySpace graphics all over the page, and it's just like, should I give my credit card information to this? Probably not. There's a product called Google OneBox, and for certain keywords it displays content above the organic search results. And this is becoming more and more prevalent. Google's showing image results. So we'll talk about vertical inclusion, vertical targeting a little bit later, but this is just a short example of how you can use some of the Google products to show some information and build link value to your site. So here's the Google Base product search OneBox. Fairly intuitive. You can do it in an XML and Excel spreadsheet. You can also do it in a text version. You basically upload it, a manual upload. It's pretty fast, and the format is a tab style. So it doesn't take too long to set up, and it's super valuable. And this would be an example of what we uploaded. This is Google Products, and if you have Google Products, I recommend using, at least adding Google Checkout, because if you'll notice, if you do any sponsored listings, the Google Checkout will show up underneath it, and that's just a great way of adding some additional trust value to the user. And you can see an example of the product search. Kind of highlight the rest of it's in white, and we searched for a Nikon D300, and Google's displaying at the very top above the first organic listing, and underneath the sponsored links, they're displaying some of the products. So if you were selling a Nikon D300, you would definitely want to be in that product search, and you'd also want to be. So just imagine how valuable it would be to rank #1 and have a listing in the product search, and even doing some additional sponsored advertising. If a customer sees, hey, you're ewingenterprise.com, we're in the sponsored listing, we're in the product listing, we're ranked #1. Hey, we're making a strong case that their search can be answered by this site. So, analyzing and monitoring your site using analytics tools. You want to track visits, conversions, referrals. You want to use a monitoring tool to monitor your site's ranking based on the keywords that you're targeting. Researching competitors by their age, the number of inbound links, the keywords that they're using. And that's just a little bit. There's a little bit more depth, but we don't want to blow your mind right now. So the next subject is content, and content is king. So performing a detailed analysis on keywords, making sure your site is crawlable, using web standards to create clean, light pages, implement keywords on appropriate page elements, obtaining links from quality authoritative sources, and designing and implementing with the users first, then the search engine second. So we're going to do a little video that we had. just going to play a little bit of it, and you can check this out and other videos on ewingenterprise.com on Google. Let's see. This is design coding. Let me let it go a little bit, but this is just a cool SEO wrapper, and you just get an idea of a creative way to use some coding and just a way to build content that's creative, that's interesting, fresh, that people will want to engage with, and can provide good short-term, long-term value. Okay, that should be good enough.
Design and coding. The design of your site, and the coding of your site are key components to how your site is optimized and the conversions you get. If design and coding right, it'll work for you. Check it out. Your site designed.
Okay, so that's just a little bit of it. And if you'd like to watch the rest of the video, feel free to go to our YouTube channel.
First thing people see, it should be reflective of you in the industry. Easy to look at with a nice navigation when they can't find what they want.
And this search engine relationships, that chart you saw, you can go to ewingenterprise.com, and we have that search engine relationship chart. Some of the keyword tools: Google AdWords, the Trillion Word Tracker. Web CEO is a great client-based keyword tool. If you go to Ewing Enterprise, not only can we do a lot of this for you, but we have some free tools as well, and we'll be making that available to the public. If you sign up for our ebook, it'll give you access to not only those resources, but a huge wealth of others. There's Omniture, Mint, Web Trends, a stat counter, and as far as tracking, monitoring, SEO for Firefox Tool is a great plugin. Google Toolbar is a great plugin, and what's cool is that they're free. So there's no reason, no budget can't afford a free trial. Some of the books: Search Engine Marketing by Morgan and Bill Hunt, Building Profitable Websites, the Online Copier's Handbook. We also have a free SEO ebook, 20 must-have SEO tips, on our site, ewingenterprise.com, so feel free to check those out as well. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me at davidewing@ewingenterprise.com. And if you need SEO or want some help or just want to chat, check us out at ewingenterprise.com, and we'll be glad and happy to assist you. And I'll look forward to talking with you. So catch some more of our presentations on our channel or on our site. Thank you, and hope to see you ranking #1 soon.